you. I'm very appreciative about your presentation and the model class,
Okay, thank you.
So, right. So I want to question a few. So first of all, where did your student start learning English?
Most of them start learning English at school, about at the age of 8 years. Of course, some have lived abroad, but they are a very small minority. At school, I would say.
Okay, I see. Second question is, estimate how long your student have studied English altogether?
Altogether, I mean, when they finish our school, they have studied English for 10 years, I suppose. Yes, 10 years.
Yes. And the third question is, how do your students estimate their English skills,
Well, it depends. On average, somewhere between moderate or fairly fluent. Some of them are really very fluent. But when they evaluate themselves, I think they want to be modest. But whenever we have had a project abroad, they realize that they are rather good.
Okay, I see. Next question is, where have you mostly learned your English? It's just for the student. Where they mostly use their English.
So they mostly have learned at school, but also elsewhere. For instance, watching TV, because our programs are not dubbed. They have the original soundtrack and the subtitles then. And if you asked also where they use it, did you?
Right, yes.
Okay, I think many of them have friends abroad and they travel a lot, so they have the opportunity to use English here and there, and when they have their summer jobs and so on. So they are very interested in studying English, really, because it's the youth language everywhere.
Right.
So that makes it a little bit more appealing than other languages.
Okay, I see. How important is English your people, or I mean Finnish personally? Of
course it's very important because as I mentioned, very, very few people can speak Finnish. And in very many professions, you need English to communicate. If you have contacts in other countries, business, for instance, or European politics, or whatever, you need it. And of course, in the universities, when you study, very often the books are in English. So it is needed. And if you do some scientific research work, you practically always write your articles in English. So it is a very important language.
Whoever I met in the street, Finnish, I asked some questions as English. They can speak English very well. So Finnish is Finnish people can speak English very well.
I would say so. I would say so. At least all those who are 50 years old or less.
Yes. Okay. So someone who is good at English means, what do you think? They can speak English well, or they can write English well? What is this?
Well, I think if you ask about this for different things, in our studies we emphasize them all, and I personally want to emphasize spoken English more, because that's the way to communicate mostly. But of course we write and read, and so for instance the final exam has all these 4 parts. So it's very important to have practice them all. You can't choose either or.
Okay, I see.
All of them.
what about how much emphasis do you put on each of 4 language skills on average when learning English? Rank them from 1 to 4: listening, speaking, reading, writing. What is your opinion?
So from the student's point of view, again.
Okay.
So as a teacher, I say that they are all important.
Yeah.
But I think students prefer speaking and reading and listening in that order, and writing is the least appealing thing. But they all understand that all these 4 parts are very important.
So you mean that speaking is the most important thing, and second is
obviously listening,
listening,
reading and writing.
Reading and writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that is the student's opinion as well, and I want to emphasize them all equally.
Okay, I see.
But in normal life, spoken English is the most important, of course.
Okay. It is the last questions, number 13. What do you think that the practical English means? Practical English.
Practical English. Well, practical English means that you can, to me, that you can communicate with native speakers of the language in everyday situations. Possibly, we can talk them about the professional vocabulary, and then that. But practical English is everyday English, everyday situations with native speakers, because that's a higher level than other foreigners.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I see. So, if you say to Korean student or parents or a government or whatever, whoever I mean, what do you emphasize to those of people to learn English? What is your opinion?
So what they should do, and
Yes.
you mean that? Well, I would recommend the emphasis on speaking skills as well, communication skills in general. And as I said before, for that purpose, I think it would be very, very important to send your future English teachers abroad. I mean, in English-speaking countries, so that they would learn English themselves very well, and then be able to teach the Korean children. Foreign teachers are not as good as your own.
Okay, thanks for your interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, great.
혹시 굉장히 화상어라는 게 있잖아요.
네.
이런 데도 네이티브 스피커 아메리칸, 유나이티드 스테이츠 외국인들하고 그런 게 있나?
So interactly with the screen through the internet, can you communicate with foreigners who are living in America or England? There is a system here in school?
Well, there is, but not very much in use. No, we don't use it at school. We have the system, but it's so difficult to organize because the time difference is one of the problems, and get the students there. So no, but our students very often spend a year abroad, or during the summertime they take a language course in Britain, for instance, and so they want to improve their spoken skills.
Okay. So how long did you teach English?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, well, would I say about 40 years.
40 years?
Yes.
You are very, very expert.
Well, I started at the age of 24, and I'm now I'm 64, so it makes 40 years.
Yeah. So I heard that before I came